Much like marriage, as clubs grow old, Toastmaster Shanita, should I begin?
Yeah.
Okay. Much like marriage, as clubs grow old, there seems to be a state of saturation seeping in. With club meetings following the same format, spiraling around a routine pattern each and every week, members seem to be losing the charm and interest of attending club meetings. This saturation could result from various other reasons as well. Seeing and interacting with the same faces every week, not having new members to add vibrance to the club, and so on. With time, such saturation may succumb the club to even dissolution, leading to divorce with members. Then what's the remedy? We asked around, and pat came the answer, the F word. Well, don't get me wrong, F stands for fun. A dash of fun is like a salt in our food. Without it, everything becomes so flavorless. Similarly, our Toastmasters meeting can lose their essence without an infusion of fun. Now that we all know the importance of adding fun to our Toastmasters meeting, how can we begin this session without a dash of fun, isn't it? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I hope you all are ready to join me in adding some fun to today's session. Can I request everyone to come on camera for a moment? Wonderful. Let us start with a little interactive fun activity. We are going to play a variation of the classic song, If You Are Happy and You Know It. When I sing, in the end, you all strike a pose because Toastmasters is all about confidence and positivity. Shall we do it all together?
Yes.
If you're confident and you know it and you really want to show it, if you're confident and you know it, strike a pose. Wonderful. I see a lot of confident individuals over here spreading positive vibes. Without further ado, let's dive into our agenda and make this gathering both educational and enjoyable. If you're ready and you know it and you really wonderful. To help us learn the recipe of fun, today we have two fantastic panelists who will share their secret recipes and experiences on this important aspect of adding fun to Toastmasters meetings. Welcome the man of finance, Toastmaster Shanish Babu, who comes with more than 12 years of experience under his belt. Toastmaster Shanish does not make investments. He invests in making our Toastmasters. He declared for the year 2021-22 at District 98. In the vibrant world of Toastmasters, he has been a jack of all trades, wearing more hats than you have in your closet. He had served as the area director, club mentor, club sponsor, club president, vice president education, and vice president public relations. In his free time, Toastmaster Shanish enjoys reading books, playing tennis, and public speaking. Here is a fun fact about Toastmaster Shanish. Due to his friends in Toastmasters, he had started enjoying and learning dance as well, along with public speaking. Big round of applause for our panelist, Toastmaster Shanish Babu. Our second panelist for today is a seasoned Toastmaster who embodies the spirit of joy and enthusiasm in every syllable of his name. Toastmaster Ramanand Bhatt. He is a business analyst by the day and a Toastmaster by day and night. He has held more titles than any best-selling novelists. He had served in roles of area director, president, vice president membership, vice president education, vice president public relations, all during his Toastmaster journey. With podium finishes in division levels at ISC and HSC, he is not just a business analyst, but a champion communicator as well. And here is a fun fact about Indian. He is the linguistic superhero who Marathi as well. A big round of applause for our second panelist for today, Toastmaster Ramanand Bhatt. Now let's dive into our main topic for today, the art of adding fun to Toastmasters meetings. As we all know, Toastmaster is about more than just public speaking. It's about personal growth, camaraderie, and yes, having a good time all along the way. So let us hear why is it important to add fun to Toastmaster meetings?
I'll go first, Abhishek. So I think the way you introduced right at the beginning, right? The analogy of marriage. So that's a very good analogy, like why it is necessary to introduce fun. With time and after a lot of meetings, many times member get into that perception that, okay, it is the same meeting, it is the same role we are looking at. So can we mix things up? Can we have some spice? And that's where that I think the element of fun comes in. How we can break the monotonous and maybe have different ways. Because like you mentioned, sometimes rather than looking for solution, sometimes people look for a different way. And fun, bringing that element in a club is a good way to retain the members and to enjoy your own journey.
That's a wonderful take. Can we hear from Toastmaster Ramanand?
Yes. Thank you so much, Abhishek and Sunita, for the invite. Pleased to be here. So, on the subject of fun, right? You take your own workplace. We do not usually have the liberty to add a little bit of spice, salt, and garam masala in your regular routine. You are tasked with this, doing the same thing day in and day out. Now, I'm not saying that's not interesting, but again, you don't have the freedom to do or have some kind of a change. You are dependent on the HR who will come up with some silly ideas for Fun Fridays. Right? But our meetings are held weekly, and we have all the resources, all the people, all the members that we are connected to daily. Especially being in the XCOM, you get to take charge of all these things. It's not just the VP Education who's in charge. And as rightly said by our own founder, Dr. Al Smedley, that we learn best in moments of enjoyment. So if we don't mix things up a little bit, not only will members stop wanting to come, but the entire point of learning from Toastmasters and actually applying it outside, that purpose gets defeated. Hence, it's very important to spice things up a little bit every now and then.
That's fantastic. So, how can the meeting openings be made fun and engaging?
Sure, I'd like to take that up. So let me give you a very small example of what our sergeant at arms does. So before that, the feel of having entered a Toastmasters arena or an auditorium, classroom, whatever it is, starts right from the VPM's desk. It's not the sergeant at arms that starts the meeting. It's the entire excom. It's all the senior members, all the semi-active members who are regularly attending the meeting. So it's important that we set the right tone, especially for the guests and the new members, right from the VPMs, involved. And secondly, right, let me give a very small example of what our sergeant at arms did recently. She made everyone stand up. She made them do a little bit of exercise here and there. Simon says sit down, Simon says stand up, and like a couple of activities. And then we had a small session of networking wherein all of us were tasked with knowing knowing people who are sitting to the left or right, and ask interesting questions like, where do you come from, why, how come you're a Toastmasters, and what is it that you've gained. So simply getting to know each other in a short span of time, constrained 1 minute or so. That was fun, and there was a lot of commotion around the classroom when this was happening. That was one unique way of starting a meeting. I'm sure there are plenty, and I'd like Sanish to step.
Thank you, Ramanand. So one of the things is what I had also seen as vice president education was every member, you, I, Arvind, Sunita, Amrita, has that option, right? Whenever the meeting is there, we have a choice to spend with our family, to work on ourselves, maybe upskill ourselves, or to attend a Toastmaster meeting. Why to go for that Toastmaster meeting? So fun is something that, okay, theek hai. Last time I went, it was so much fun. I would like to go there. Invest that 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour, whatever that is. So that helps, fun helps to bring the members in. And even we like to do that. So one of the thing is, my favorite thing is, if you have heard that story of the Tom, where he was asked by his parents to paint the fence. And he goes about painting the fence. It's an odd job. He didn't like it. But the moment he showed that he was enjoying, he was having fun, other children came in and, can I also help you out? And he started charging them. That is the power of fun. So the moment when we as club leaders, members who are attending the member, we have fun, other people look at it and it gets contagious. They also, these guys are having fun, let's also chip in. Now the way about going have that is, there are different ways. If you look, one way is theme-based meeting. In India, we have this benefit or blessing of so many festivals. Right now, we have Christmas coming around the corner. So clubs can have a meeting based around that. Sometime back, there was Navratri. So in our club, we had, after the meeting, we had people playing around for 5-10 minutes Navratri. For the meeting, everybody was encouraged, like, dress up, something traditional, wear dress and come. If it's an over enthusiastic club, you can have something like Bahubali based movie, you can dress up like characters and come. So how to have fun, I would say it's completely up to the creativity and ingenuity of members. Like online clubs, online meetings have given us so much exposure. Like I'm totally amazed. Like there are club meetings in Africa where I've gone, they are like so much enthusiastic, like totally bamboozled. So one meeting I went just last week, the Timor just asked me, what is your favorite color? I mentioned red. And he had a whole poem for each of the role player. I didn't give him that like so much poem. So creativity leads to fun. And it's totally up to each person, like what you are passionate about. And I think once passion, it's contagious. When you're passionate about something, others, audience look at it and they enjoy that you being passionate about what you're saying or doing. Couple of other things is reverse meeting. That again adds a different element. Maybe once you can try it out. Then there is something different I read is grab a role. So that is something like maybe half hour before the meeting, everybody turns up. There is a bag, all the roles are put in it. Members come and randomly take up, even Timor, even general evaluator, even prepared speech. It's going to be impromptu. Now, this is something you cannot do for every meeting. Definitely, we want proper agenda, but that's what we are learning. But maybe once in a blue moon, once in a year, just to spice things up, something like this can be tried out. Over to you.
That's a fantastic idea for spicing up meeting openings. Now, what are some icebreaker activities or games that clubs can use to add fun, like Toastmaster Ramanand Bhatt suggested, we can have exercises done. So, what can be some icebreakers that you both would suggest which clubs can integrate in their meetings to make it more fun?
In terms of icebreaker for members, you mean, right, Abhishek?
Yes, and the guests.
And the guests. So, one thing can be like for guests also, like what brings them apart from the fun is also like the ExCom wants to know how the guests are coming to know about that. So maybe at the end of the meeting, they can ask the guests in one word, tell how was today's meeting,
Okay.
right? So just one word. Generally, we are tempted. We want to say a lot of things. So when we are confident for one word, people start thinking, okay, what is the one word I can say? The other thing is for maybe members or guests, maybe you can ask something like have a potluck dinner, right? And don't share who is bringing what. And at the end, people, members, guests can guess who brought what probably. If somebody always says like, give me party, give me pani puri, then people guess, okay, this person has probably brought this or who was asked. So something like that. Or maybe something like costume party probably where people have hidden their faces and maybe at the end, everybody remove their mask and you come to know, okay, who is wearing which mask. So something of that could be till the end that mystery is there in the meeting. So that can be a kind of icebreaker for everybody. Okay, looking at the different side of the audience, the guest.
I'm sure these can be impactful, and it adds a lot of creativity to the club. Now, there are some dishes on the table that everyone wants to have on their plate. So, how can we make table topics interesting and fun so that everyone wants to take table topics during the table topic session?
Cool. I'd like to go first. So I'm sure most of us are familiar with the concept of IPL, right? And when you say IPL, Impromptu Premier League, you come up with so many themes. For example, abstract, wherein you give the speaker only one word to work with, and it's very subjective. No one's constraining you with, this is what it means. Pink should mean, pink for girls and blue for no one is constraining you with any kind of ideas. It's very subjective. Whatever you can come up with, that's your topic. And that also brings in a lot of variety in terms of how people think. So many perspectives, right? You would have never imagined someone will actually talk about a pink cupboard, or someone's childhood, a guy saying that they actually like the color pink, something like that. Or you recently we had the IPL at our club, and one of the topics was, or the theme was, arrive at. So I give you the last sentence. For example, this is why I will never have sandwiches on Thursdays, and you have to come up with a situation wherein you will not have sandwiches on Thursdays. You start maybe with Sundays, or maybe some kind of situation or condition wherein someone forced you to not have a sandwich, or maybe you had a sandwich and something went wrong. So a lot of thinking on the feet. You were actually compelled to come up with a lot of creativity on the spot. Another example could be like in club meetings. If you have to infuse a lot of creativity in table topics, you can do a dual TT. I was recently conducting an educational session at Father Agnel Toastmasters. Sanish was there. So I gave someone that the character of a boss, and someone else the character of an employee, and they had to do a role play. And I had given them a condition that the employee has to ask for a leave and a promotion, both. And I didn't say this to anyone, but I wrote something on WhatsApp and gave it to the employee character, which said you have to yell at the boss at 3 instances. So this is something the boss wasn't expecting, the character of the boss, and neither was the audience. Another one last idea that we could do is maybe we could have 2 guests and 2 members, and we could start a story relay. The table topic master gives some kind of, starts with a sentence. For example, this Sunday I went to the park and I saw Sunita dancing, like something like that, and someone else has to take it up from there. why was Sunita dancing? How was she dancing? What was the art form? And it keeps going for 2.5 minutes. So not only do you add a lot of entertainment when you involve more people and you spice things up in terms of giving topics, everyone feels involved and everyone's hooked to what's going to happen, because that's not the regular way of doing table topics.
Let's hear from Toastmaster Sanish.
Thanks, Abhishek. I think Ramanand covered a lot of points there. I think table topics of lately has become the flavor. Like everybody is jumping on that. And one of the things I've seen is recently many of the bigger clubs who have a lot of members to engage them, they are using table topics very actively in the form of premier leagues and different. And therein they bring in veteran Toastmaster from other clubs as well to share their knowledge and experience. I think that's a very good idea. And to add on what Ramanand said is another I would say add on is something called as flip. Like the speaker is speaking on maybe particular thing, and the moment the host says flip, the speaker has to change the perspective on the topic. So that again makes you think on your feet. Again, that this is there. The other thing is like maybe you can have a group kind of like 3 people in one team, 3 people in another team, and maybe like along with table topic, you have kind of debate kind of like one person give opening, second person gives maybe body, and third person conclusion in each of the two of the team. So these are the things where it's not just about one person, but it's also a team activity. Then you start planning also, right? Just before the meeting, because when it comes to team, we all are competitive, right? We want to win. And when it comes to like a team activity, you start calling the other person. You might not have called each other maybe for a year, for 6 months. The moment you are put in a team, now I want to win, let me call the other person, right? So just one person cannot row the boat and ensure that, okay, we win as a team. So you start calling and, okay, let's strategize. So these things, along with fun, along with growth, also creates camaraderie as well. You start connecting. Because if you see Toastmasters, yes, it helps you to improve your public speaking. It helps you to improve your interpersonal speaking. But after spending maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, what enables or ensures that you're still renewing your membership is that camaraderie, that friendship, that bonds you have in the club. And these activities where club ensures that camaraderie is created, I think that will help the club in the long run.
These are interesting ways to make the table topics more enjoyable. Now, can you suggest ways of making use of visual aids and multimedia while adhering with our Toastmaster brand guidelines, and how these can help us make the meeting more interesting and fun?
I'll take that first. So one of the things I take from cue from his Ramanand session, which he conducted recently at our club. So he got a couple of memes and he was sharing those, and it got the attention of the people quickly. One of the things with relation to brand guidelines, what I would tell as per my interpretation is when it comes to promoting Toastmasters, then we have to stick to that. But when it comes to conducting speeches given by people or something like that, and speakers are creating PPT, they have higher leverages. They don't have to stick to this. But in training or something like that, we have to stick to the definitely the TI guidelines. But when it comes to the speeches, there is a more higher leeway. And again, coming to this, it's also about how we have virtual cabs and all these things. Like in Zoom also, they are keeping on adding different features, what we can add. Again, adding that artificial interface, like where we see like an anime cartoon. So all these things make interesting. And I think that is one of the places where probably online clubs would have an edge on physical clubs, because maybe physical clubs, due to the venue limitation or restriction, they might face challenge in terms of playing with the visual screen. Therein, I think online probably would have an edge in general, not maybe as a rule for every club, but online clubs have an advantage. I remember during the pandemic stage, like we used to hang back for discussion after the meeting, online meeting, maybe for 30 minutes, sometimes 1 hour, 2 hour, and just chit chat. And sometimes we used to do the gallery mode, the group mode, explore the various options. So in that way, it becomes fun. Like today, how you sang a song and told us all to capture that. One of the things which again related to fun and technology is I remember sometime back we had a visitor from outside, somewhere in Europe or US, and we had a theme based on a Bollywood song. And after the meeting, we are just listening to the song, and that person also started dancing. And he was there for around, I think, 45 minutes after the meeting, and we were just having that song and enjoying. Over to Ramanand.
Yes, so my take on this is having worked on tons of PR activities as VP PR and for the area division, so many events. I have one thing to say that according to me, here are the 4 C's of branding or how we perceive it is firstly, stop complaining because constraints allow for creativity and avoid confusion. Now, this is what I mean by it. Right? A lot of people complain there are only 4 colors to play with, and all of these colors look dull and not very radiant in nature. Right? That's because the kind of idea that we want to put out there as part of Toastmaster International is that we are not a dance club or a singing club. We are a public speaking and leadership club. And those colors that seem rather dull ensure that we establish credibility with whoever sees those creatives, either it's a poster or GIF video, whatever it is, through those colors. And when you say, I don't have enough liberty to play around with 10, 15 colors, that's so much better because you now have narrowed down to 4 colors. And if you can be creative with those 4 colors, that speaks volumes about your art. And we have to understand one thing, that if we give you a palette with 15 to 20 colors, what kind of a message are we sending to the outside world, especially the guests? And we aren't doing branding or PR for different entities of Toastmasters, but Toastmasters International as a whole. All clubs pretty much should follow uniformity. And when you, let's say, if I give you, let's take the example of Swiggy, right? The moment you log into Swiggy, you have tons of options, right? You have 50 restaurants in your area delivering desserts and main courses, appetizers. And that ends up with you wasting at least half an hour in only selecting what dish to order and where to order from. But if you had only 4 options and you only, maybe few options of appetizers and main courses, that will help you do your work or maybe ordering much faster than what you would have imagined. So that's the logic behind doing PR. And having said that, PR or is not limited to just posters and videos. Recently, I think I saw Sai Ramchandran ask for the role of a timer with a huge text that was very creatively crafted, and that not only got him the role of a timer. I don't know who signed up, but obviously got that. Plus, he got a lot of eyeballs on that messages. That's such a creative way of putting it out. So if it's about designing, definitely if you are someone who wants to get better, spend some time meticulously on Canva or any other software. You will thank the 4 colors of TI, and you will like get this ability ingrained in yourself to be creative with limited resources.
Indeed, these could be smart ways of creating more engagement and interest to our Toastmaster meetings. Coming to digital clubs, what are some suggestions that you would have which digital clubs can integrate in their meetings to make it more interesting for their virtual members?
Just one answer: movie night. Do a movie night, watch stand-up comedy together, because if it's a digital club, it's a fully online club. I am guessing most of the members live in different cities, right? Not everyone can gather at one place. So do a movie night wherein you simply watch a movie on shared screen, or maybe you can watch an entire stand-up special on Netflix on shared screen, and you can quickly pause and maybe ask for a few comments. What do you think about this joke? Or I have something to say about this joke. So that is you trying to imitate or emulate the experience of an in-person club. So a lot of things can be done on shared screen, and of course Zoom has these options to play quiz, Kahoot, and so much it's there on Zoom. There's AI, and in spite of being an in-person club, we have this concept of Toastmasters Thursdays, wherein we have just table topics for an hour from 9 to 10. We can have a debate from 9 to 10. So apart from your regular meetings for a digital club, you can always add in one extra meeting for the day, wherein you meet for only 45 minutes or an hour or so, maybe, and do something offbeat. Right? So many ideas have already been presented.
That's wonderful. Let's hear from Toastmaster Shanish.
To add up, it's a brilliant idea. Movie nights, I think probably something I'll try to push at my place as well, Ramanan. That's a nice idea. What I would say is I remember from the pandemic days when our club also was online. Some of the members had mentioned that the online it does not give that connectedness, and people felt like leaving. So while I had conversation and the VP, MVP, we had the conversation. We asked people like, what is it that you would like to bring in? So one of the thing I would suggest is ask people for feedback, and because of that, couple of people renewed that. It's not responsibility of a VP or VPM or a president. Every member can contribute, and like I mentioned, in terms of creativity ideas, each of us would have something different and unique. And when you are passionate about something, you are having fun something, others will also enjoy doing that particular thing. Now, not just to online club, but like there is joke master of the day. That is like something I recently read. There is a poet. So not just online, even in physical clubs, it's possible. Again, another thing would be take photos. Like in physical, we take photos. Even in online, take photos of the gallery view before starting the meeting, after the meeting. Share it in the group. People feel good about it when they say, okay, others are having that meeting, let me also join in. So just last week, I was PR of my club around 4 years back, and I was just creating space in my Google Drive, and I went to 2018. I was like, okay, so many old photos, let me share in the group, and I was sharing. People have transformed so much, so lot, and looking at that, they themselves were feeling happy. Okay, I have come a long way, and other people who are seeing them today, they were able to see their past, and they were like, okay, they have changed so much. So when we talk about club, it's more about that bond, that connection, that connectivity. That is something in the online, yeah, we need to consciously create. But when there is that intent, when there are people who are ready to invest that time and effort, I think we can bring that sustainable club and have that fun environment where people block their time. Okay, this is where I want to be. I remember, like I mentioned in the online meeting, our meeting used to end 5 to 7, and after 7, there used to be just catch up activity. And sometimes member used to call or message me 8:39. Are you guys still there? If they have missed the meeting, they would ensure that they join for the catch up meeting. So when you just hang out, people enjoy, and then people look forward to that. Okay, if they have something else, so they make out time and come.
There was some solid advice for online clubs looking to make their meetings more engaging. Now, another aspect where a lot of monotonous behavior comes in is evaluations and feedbacks. So, what are your suggestions about how can evaluators make their constructive feedback more fun and engaging, not just for the speaker, but also for all the meeting attendees?
I'll take that one. First, make it fun for yourself. So I know it's kind of my theme for most of the answers, but generally when it comes, I like you need to enjoy. You need to have fun. If giving evaluation, you are having fun, you are enjoying yourself, others will also enjoy. So when it comes to evaluation, it's about three things. First of all, giving feedback to the speaker so that the speaker knows what are the areas they did well, what are the areas they need to improve upon. As an evaluator, even I would like to improve upon. So the more I give evaluation, I become better. And thirdly, the audience. When we look at the audience, they come with one of the two perspectives. One, they are going to be the future speaker. So they want to know what are the areas I can improve upon, how I can go about working on it. Or the second thing, they themselves will take evaluation. So how they can provide evaluation to the future speakers. Couple of different things which I've seen evaluators do. Now, these are not the things which I would recommend, but since we are discussing creativity, fun, and uniqueness, sometimes evaluators give an analogy of food. In the starters, you had this. In the main course, you had this. In the desserts, you had this. So that's a different way of evaluation. Once I had seen someone use the analogy of football, and he had used the acronyms used in football. Something how the three people together in a football form a team and tic-tac-toe, something like that. The ball is being passed. So using analogy is something different. So that can again catch on. But again, this should be relevant to the speech. It cannot be that it is fun, it is enjoyable, but at the end of the day, speaker did not get feedback. So though we say it should be fun, it should be entertainment, but at the end, speaker should get that feedback. Okay, what is needed? So it should not be the way that for the sake of fun and entertainment, that effectiveness is lost. Effectiveness should be that first and foremost. Evaluator should give feedback and then start asking that question. I think today we have so many resources, PDF, there's so many resources on YouTube. If you discuss with people and you keep on the path, okay, how I can make it more entertaining, I think it's an ever learning path.
Let's hear from Toastmaster Ramanand.
Yes. So first is a very simple yet effective tip for evaluators is, I think I've seen in more than for 50% of the cases, or even more than that, thus the evaluator speaks only to the speaker. Like he alienates the entire audience, like speaker, and that's the one-way communication that's happening on stage while the evaluator is speaking. So one of the evaluation champions from, I think, China or Hong Kong said that even evaluation is a speech and it's a performance in itself. So speak to the audience, not just the speaker. That's one. Aditya Maheshwaran once recited a poetry in his evaluation when he was giving an evaluation at Mumbai Toastmasters. He recited maybe 8 to 10 lines regarding what the speech was about. And you do have the liberty of time in a regular meeting, right? You do have 15-20 minutes. You can infuse a little bit of creativity and try and jot down some lines, or maybe narrate a story that relates to the speech instead of directly jumping onto the commendations then recommendations. And coming to the technical aspect of it, most speeches can be categorized into, right, persuasive, inspirational, informative, or entertaining, these categories. So if the speaker has spoken about, say, and it's something that was very inspirational, but he lacked the elements of persuasion or some kind of information that was relevant. So if you know these categories, if you know where the speaker's speech exactly fell, you can give some creative recommendations from the other areas. Okay, this is something alternatively that you can look at. So that's not only a aha moment for the evaluator, but it's a good add-on or a value add to the audience as well.
That's wonderful. We discussed some clever strategies to add fun and engagement in our Toastmasters meeting. Now it's time to open the floor for question and answer from our attendees. We have one question in the chat box already posted by Toastmaster Purnima, which revolves around adding fun to online meetings. We had suggestions from both our panelists on this. Toastmaster Purnima, do you have any follow-up on this that you would like to ask to our panelists? Okay. Okay. So Toastmaster Purnima has her question answered. We have a hand raised by Toastmaster Girija. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you. It was a very wonderful, insightful interaction, and we loved every second of it. During one of our meetings, we had invited a ventriloquist, and it invited a lot of appreciation from the general evaluator. Of course, there were lots of participants who appreciated it, and they said that inviting a ventriloquist not only added to the fun, but it also added to the element of the values of Toastmasters, because for creating two different sentences itself, a ventriloquist has to work so hard, the consistency of the work and the voice modulations and all that. So that is something that we can learn from them, that it is a skill that a Toastmaster can learn to add to variety in his speech. Similarly, we can probably also watch TED Talks chosen by the members. That also we had done in one of the meetings. Then on the topic that we can, the theme of the day, probably we can summarize it with a small short video or open it with the video, maybe just 1 minute, 2 minutes. That was also incorporated in one of the meetings and people appreciated it. I think somebody has also shared what they did in their club. So if probably the audience share the different things that they did in our club, that also would be fun. Once we
Yeah.
also had games during a festival. So people brought different ice creams and people guessed the different flavors, looking at each other's ice creams and all. And that also we had done once. Over to
Indeed,
you.
these are
Thank you.
wonderful ideas. Thank you, Toastmaster Girija, for adding your inputs. We have one question coming in the chat box where they want to know how can we add fun element to educational meetings, because often the VP education brings some educational meetings for training the members. How can fun be infused in such meetings? We can have it by Toastmaster Shunish.
One of the things which I would say is VP education have a briefing with the trainer, the person who is going to conduct the educational session. So you need to set for that to the trainer. Okay, this is what I'm looking it for. What are you planning to build? How are you going to give it? And now it's a difficult job for a VP because sometimes the trainer could be a veteran speaker, like who has been for maybe 8 years, 10 years, and maybe the VP is maybe 1 year or 2 years. And therein lies that opportunity for the VP to grow, because it can happen tomorrow in corporate as well, where you have to work with someone who is much more senior, and how do you convey that? And this gives you that platform. And coming to briefing, that have the discussion. Okay, we want to make it more fun. We want to make it more audience engaging, audience interactive. How can we go about doing that? I remember when I was the VP, I used to hunt clubs during online time. I used to go to, okay, this is an educational session, and go in and sit that, okay, how is this educational session being conducted? How is that? After probably listening to 5, 6, then I would reach out to one person, okay, this is which I enjoyed the most. Let me ask that person. Then I would have a discussion with that person, okay. And how it has helped me today is that when I am going to take educational session, it helps me now. During that time, I didn't look it like that way. Now I know, okay, what are the elements that need to be included. Couple of things is audience interaction. Sometimes we tend to be monotonous. Make the audience talk as much as possible. If there are 40 people in the room, make them speak as much as possible. Let them ask the questions. Don't share what we have. Look at the size of the cup. What are they looking out for? What are they seeking out for? And then accordingly share. Keep it engaging. Probably, I think again, online provides that platform where you don't have a restriction of time or venue. You can conduct the session because I've seen in online club sometimes beyond that time limit we can sit there. That's not possible in a physical club. The venue is being rented. We have to vacate the premises. So in that ways, again, online club benefit if it can be planned and promoted in that.
That's wonderful. We have Toastmaster Sherman with a question. Please unmute yourself.
I have question related to reverse meeting. How to conduct it means normally in the in the meeting in the end presiding officer and vote counter normally they close the meeting, I mean to say they announce the winners and then presiding officer closes the meeting. So in reverse meeting, how to start and how to do the evaluation?
I'd like to answer that. So first of
Yeah.
all, I understand how confusing it could be to arrange a meeting that's flipped on its head, because we are very used to the Toastmaster day coming up, then he'll come up call up the evaluator, the speech guidelines, and then the speaker comes up, and then etc., right? And to make sure all role players know this flow, it's actually rocket science. I won't kid. I've been team out for one of the sessions, and in the last 4 years our club has had, I think, 4 reverse meetings. And every time there is a reverse meeting, we have a special briefing of an hour or more than that, so that everyone knows the flow. So I have the flow jotted down. I won't be able to explain exactly who starts and who ends, because again that's confusing. But I have the flow jotted down because I had conducted a meeting when I was VP Education. So I'll send that flow to you. And if anyone wants that or wants to conduct a reverse meeting in their club, please reach out to me. I have the entire
Yeah.
flow jotted down.
Thank you so much. Please share it. Thank you so much.
Will do. Welcome.
We have Toastmaster Purnima.
Yeah, hi. So I know a lot of points have been covered regarding online club, but like one question that I had is that I mean, especially after COVID, we have seen a decline in membership for online clubs, right? Because obviously people prefer to go to physical clubs and have a better public speaking experience. But for the clubs that prefer to be online, so one challenge is membership, obviously, and the second one is that within that limited membership, how to make your meetings, like creative and enjoyable. And I know that this question is a vast one, not really specific, but I just wanted to understand Toastmaster Sanish and Ramanand's thought around this and how they would tackle it if they were the president or VP of those clubs.
I'll go first. So, one of the things which I would say is while approaching this situation is keep that question in mind. How can I make a member feel special? And it's a continuous thought process, like back of the mind, every interaction, how can I make a member feel special? One of the things which I saw today in Toastmaster Mumbai is one of the member showcase that gift I received from PQD Sunita, a handwritten note, right? She felt so good about it. And she shared that on the WhatsApp, and other members also showed that appreciation for that. And again, she is a member of an online Kalpana. So that's just one gesture and one example. The thing is, maybe probably on a birthday, the online club, maybe physical, like we are talking about fun, maybe physical clubs, they can have the uh, possibility, if they have the budget, once a month at last meeting on, they cut a cake for all the members. Maybe an online club can send a maybe small cake towards that members on their birthday. Maybe members, there is something that where connectedness is feeling. At the end of the day, we want to feel as we are part of the group. If an online club can break that puzzle, that's amazing for that. Like if it's like where just we log in every Saturday 5 and okay, meeting is over at 7 and we disperse, then it's difficult for a member to feel that connect. But it's like, let's say it's a club of 20 and 15 members turn up, 5 members don't turn up. At the end of the meeting, VPM, VP, or maybe other excom bodies, they call up the 5 members. Okay, you didn't come up for today. What happened? Just that gesture of a call, that will make them feel special. Okay, let me see what I couldn't come because of this thing. So the I would say the point is, how can you make a member feel special? How would you like to be treated? Treat others like that, because today maybe we are at the XCOM and tomorrow how we treat them, they will be in the XCOM. So if we make them feel special today, they will revert it maybe in a year or two and make you feel special when they are at the helm.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Sanish.
I'd like to add on to that. Well said, Sanish. So, Purnima, I wholeheartedly understand how difficult it might be to run a fully online club when, in fact, running an in-person club is difficult in itself. When we always face the challenges of, how to keep the members' interests hard and, keep them engaged. So, here are a few ideas that I'd like to quickly touch upon that might help. So MTM used to do, I'm sure you've attended this. From 10:30 to 10:45, we used to have this activity called Cafe MTM, wherein all people would get their cups of tea and coffee, biscuits, and together have it. This was the lockdown period. Now, this idea was so highly appreciated that it from an activity this became a ritual. And then after a year or so, we tried to mix this up also. We stopped having like breaks. So in person meetings, we would have a proper 15-minute break for tea, coffee, and snacks, wherein we would gather in the corridors and chit chat and everything. So that element was missing. So one of the members suggested we start having breaks in between online meetings as well, 15 minutes, wherein people are randomly put in breakout rooms and they have to have a conversation with each other. And every XCOM member, all those 7 XCOM members will take rounds going into each breakout room, ensuring that no one's silent or it doesn't become very dull out there. If it's silent or dull, the XCOM member will push them. Okay, talk about this. What about this? And why are you sitting like that? Just try and have fun like that. The third would be try and have mentors for specific skills. For example, like Sanish mentioned, a lot of, in fact, very few clubs compared to the number of clubs you have globally have the role of a humorist or a joke master. So if you know someone who's a district champion in HSC or is a great storyteller, get some of these active members of your club, get mentored by them. Have like a limited 3 to 5 sessions, and they'd be happy to do it. Like in Toastmasters, I don't think any of us say no to mentoring or helping other clubs in any way. And once they learn that skill, maybe storytelling or maybe humor, get those members to do that activity at the end of the meeting. I mean, let's say they'll do the role of a joke master or maybe a listener, quiz master, something like that. And in terms of joint meetings, there are tons of clubs, I believe, internationally that exist only online. So have joint meetings with clubs in Canada, Germany, US, as you feel. So this will require a lot of research and Google search. So that's again a task. But once you find these clubs out, it becomes a cakewalk. You approach 10 clubs and at least one of them will say yes.
Yeah,
These
thank you
are-
so much, Toastmaster Ramanand. I think all the suggestions were really good. I'll connect with you for the joke master part because you're the most amazing joke master of District 98. I know. So maybe you can help me with few contacts. But thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, and Toastmaster Ranjani also suggests having a debate session where even guests can join to enjoy the entire meeting. Well, well, well. Wasn't this a roller coaster of wisdom, laughter, and lots of fun? I don't know about you all, but I guess I have more takeaways than any Zomato delivery restaurant from today's session. We looked at various themes, adding fun to Toastmaster meetings. But, fellow Toastmasters, here is the deal. The real magic happens when you take these nuggets of wisdom and apply them to your own club meetings and watch the magic unravel. Big thanks to our panelists and a bigger thanks to all of you for hanging out today. And the biggest for making everything better. This is your moderator for today, Toastmaster Abhishek, signing off with a virtual high five. And a promise to see you all again in the next Wednesday Wisdom. Over to you, Toastmaster Sunita.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Thank you, Sanish. Thank you, Ramanand. Since we started this off as a project for Abhishek, we also have an evaluator for him right now in the session. Probably post that, I will close the meeting. So I would now like to invite Joanne, who will be the evaluator for Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sunita. Abhishek,
First of all, let me thank you for arranging this wonderful panel discussion. I came in blank into the panel discussion. I know as an evaluator, you come in with a totally different perception and totally different mindset than when you're coming as an audience, right? So I came in blank, but you won't believe the amount of notes I have taken. Not as an evaluator, but as an audience, because that's the amount of learning I got with the panel discussion. And I think that's the ultimate goal, right? When you do an education session, a panel discussion, the ultimate goal is how much better and how much more knowledge did the audience get? And I think you have nailed it today with this panel discussion. So congratulations to you for that. I loved it. Let me get straight into the evaluation mode and tell you what I loved about the whole panel discussion, right? The first thing is you were very well prepared. I could see that there was absolutely no confusion in your mind what I should ask next, or what kind of question should I address. So that preparation even before the panel discussion was very well done, and it was very well organized, because I was looking at the flow of the questions. You started with how to have fun generally, then fun in the opening, and then you ended with fun with evaluation. And then you went to the Q&A. So you actually use the meeting, the flow of the general Toastmasters meeting to organize your questions to the panelists. So it was a very well organized panel discussion. Another thing was the way you conducted the Q&A. Brilliant, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you why. You were keeping an eye on the chat box, and you were addressing every single detail and question and answer given in the chat box. As a moderator, it is very important for you to build that connection with the audience, and you did that wonderfully by keeping an eye on the chat box and acknowledging every single comment that was made. So very well done, the Q&A session also. And last but not the least, I'll tell you, there are a lot of things I have written down, but last but not the least, what a choice of great panelists. People forget that when you bring in a panel discussion with a topic, it's very important that you choose the right panelist. And today, you justified your choices with both these panelists, because they gave us, at least to me personally, a lot of really direct answers and feedback, which I can take back to my club and use. And that's the end goal achieved, right? So very good choice of panelists. I'll tell you, overall, I loved the whole panel discussion. But when I look at you, I see someone who can become a great moderator in future, right? So to just take it to that next level, I have a couple of recommendations. The first one is, when you start any kind of interview discussion, I would suggest that you acknowledge the audience, greet them first, and build that connection, and then start. You started with that beautiful introduction. I love the introduction, no doubt about that. But I was thinking, where is the good evening, welcome, thank you for being there? It's such a small thing, and people tend to ignore it. But the fact is that you're giving the audience a time to settle down. Okay, now we are starting. These are the panelists. So that introduction, that greeting, that welcome was missing. The second thing I'll tell you, and this is something that you asked me to look for, that was your voice modulation. And I was thinking to myself, Abhishek has such a beautiful voice. You have a sing-song voice. Now, what is a sing-song voice? A sing-song voice is a voice that makes people always laugh and feel good. So when you're asking the questions, I felt really good, that smile, that sing-song voice. But I think the next level that you can learn in voice modulation is to focus on where to become serious and where to use the sing-song voice. A sing-song voice is a very positive voice, no doubt about that. But there are some aspects and some points where you can maybe tone that sing-song voice a little down and become a little serious. For example, you were addressing some questions, and you said a sentence, and having a good time all the way. Like in the meeting, you should always have a good time, and that's why you need fun. You said, and in the meeting, you should always have a good time, and that's why you need fun. But that could be a little more serious. Like I would have addressed it in a way that, and in the meeting, it's very important to have fun and good time. So Toastmaster Sanish, what do you suggest? You're putting the gravity on the question. So when you're addressing some question, when you write your script, I suggest that you underline these points where you feel like, okay, this is an important question or important point. When you underline that point, make sure that you pause and use a serious tone, so that the audience know that this is something important. So that is one tip for voice modulation. And the last tip last recommendation for this whole panelist session is, address the question to the panelists. You started off by saying, okay, what can we do for fun? And then both the panelists were like, who should go first, Sanish or Ramanand, right? I could see the confusion happening. And the audience was also confused for a second. As a moderator, take charge. Don't be scared. It's your discussion. You are the, what do you say, center of attention, the center of gravity holding all the discussion. So directly address the question to a panelist. For example, go and say, Toastmaster Ramanand, what do you think can we do to add fun to evaluation? Then address the next question to the next panelist. So directly address the question to the panelist. Overall, I'll tell you, evaluation aspect apart, I love the panel discussion. Because I'm taking back a lot of knowledge and a lot of feedback for my club. And I'm sure that's what end of the day, the goal was of the discussion, and you've achieved it. What you can think about improving is that voice modulation, right? Remember, just underline the words you think are important and tone it down or make that sentence a little more serious. Think about addressing the question directly to the panelist. Yeah, take charge. Don't worry about it. And I'm sure the next time you're going to do a panel moderator, be a moderator for a panel discussion, it's going to be even better. It was good, but it's going to be even better. Thank you. And over to you, Sunita.
Thank you so much, Joanne, for that. So thank you, Abhishek and Joanne and Sanish and Ramanand and Girija, because Girija was mentoring Abhishek. So just to give you a gist, what we are planning to do with Wednesday Wisdom, since in Wednesday Wisdom, we always come with some of the other sessions where we can share more knowledge about what Toastmasters is all about with our members. We used to always take a feedback form from members, as in what would they like to listen to on Wednesday Wisdom. So this time what we decided is, and one of the feedback or one of the ask of theirs was to understand how a panel discussion is held. So what we thought is, let's have 4 panel discussions with all the topics that they wanted to know in the feedback. So we've picked 4 topics from the feedback, and we're going to continue with panel discussions for the next 3 Wednesdays. So please do tune in, because every time a new member is trying to complete the elective of level 5 of a panel discussion, we are providing them with a mentor. If they have their own mentor, they will be mentoring them, or we are providing them, assigning a mentor to them for the panel discussion. We are also assigning an evaluator then and there, so that the moderator gets the evaluation right then and there by the end of the session. So that's clearly the idea of what we are doing right now for the next couple of Wednesday sessions. So thank you once again to each and everyone for coming and staying till the end from the beginning. So thanks for coming, and we can all switch on our video, and if you all want to say hello, or we don't, or we can all go back to that.
Sunita, I'm expecting a handwritten note from you now for coming on this panel discussion.
I am coming. 1 minute. Let me stop the recording.